Hi, everyone, and welcome. We are so excited that you are joining us this evening for the start of our June charity streams supporting Trans Lifeline. Thank you so much for joining us and for choosing to spend your evening with us. Like I mentioned, tonight's streams support Trans Lifeline, which is an amazing organization that is a grassroots hotline and microgrants 501c3 nonprofit that offers direct emotional and financial support to trans people in crisis. It is truly an organization by trans people for trans people. So if you are able to donate, please do so. Here in a couple moments, when my Twitch chat decides to start working on OBS, I'm going to put !donate into the chat, and then I'll get that pinned. But if you want to do that right now while I'm talking, again, !donate. It's going to take you right to our Tiltify, where all of the funds donated go directly to that organization. Just so y'all know, our first $100 that are donated are matched by Bogus Cheesecake, an amazing TTRPG organization based out of Alaska, making really unique and wonderful TTRPG core books and supplements like Bulgarius, excuse me. While you're at our Tiltify, you might see that there are some fun donation incentives where you can help change and shape our game. For a $10 donation or more, you can gift a reroll to anyone on the screen. For a donation of $25 or more, you can gift an auto success to anyone on the screen. For a $50 donation, you can gift a bane or a boon to the entire party. And for a donation of $75 or more, you can name the next NPC that Kai will be using in our game. And there are some really fun NPCs that you can name. I'm not gonna tell you which ones yet, but you should definitely do it. So, with that being said, my friends, my name is Jess, and my pronouns are they, them, theirs. And again, I am so incredibly appreciative of y'all choosing to spend your time with us this evening. And I'm going to popcorn it over to Alex.
Hi, I'm Alex Catherine. My pronouns are she, her. I think that's all I need to say, right? Then I'm gonna popcorn over to Greg.
Hi, I'm Greg the Otherman. My pronouns are he, him. I will popcorn it over to Erica.
Hi, everybody. I'm Erica. Pronouns are she and her. I'm going to pass it over to Kai.
Hi, everybody. I'm Kai. I use he, they, and she pronouns. And I'm going to be your GM tonight. And everyone else, you will get to meet their characters in a moment. Anything else, Jess, or shall we go?
It's all you. Let's go.
Fabulous. Welcome, everyone, to the Wildsea and a story of salt and amber. Salt is a remarkable thing. Atop the verdant sea in a world with no ocean but many sailors, salt has taken on new and strange properties. Salt, amber, and whispers carry the echo of what came before the vast tree-topped world of the Wildsea. There was a before the roots sprouted and ruptured the earth with unnatural speed, before the thrash, the tangle, the sink and drown, before most solid land was just a memory, a mystery dwelling deep in darkness under eaves. But to most folk, it was all just a dream. But dreams and memory come alive in the salt of the Wildsea. The unpredictable arcanautic winds are fair, and the four tracks of the serpent fang crawl over the thrash. The Wildsea is a verdant world that grew over a civilization on the blink of an eye into a living world of unpredictable magics, alluring dangers, and the ever-present hush of leaves in the wind. The wise stay to the thrash, a place where the sun meets the ever-rolling ocean of leaves that ships like the serpent fang ride upon, where creatures accustomed to the volatile crezerin beneath the bark live, and where peculiar artifacts rise from the depths. The serpent fang, a small ship piloted by some unusual mechanical features that help it crawl over the branches and through the leaves, is headed back to the safety of the 7 walls of the Foxloft Reach, where the red-tailed gliders roost and play. It is a small craft with a nimble build and trim silhouette, but it moves like a wheel rolling across sand more than a ship at sea, as its dual jog tracks beneath the glistening copper hull crawl across the dense branches of the forest below. Before we meet our crew, let's settle up the ship's log from this outing, shall we? Alex, how long has the Serpent Fang been away from Foxloft?
Ooh, I would say it's been away for 2.5 years. It's been a long journey.
Quite a journey. Greg, what kind of job were you away on? Salvage, rescue, recon, exploration, trade, excavation, any of the above? All of them? None of them?
It started and was meant to be an exploration. And it was meant to be a much shorter trip, but we ran into many instances of rescue, things that pulled us off course, relics, rumors that we just had to track down, and eventually got so far out that we could say, we've explored enough, let's go back home.
Erica, what incredible sight did you see while you were away?
Ooh, I think while we were out there, we saw some ancient ruins of a civilization that, from the before times, from the forever times, where, we found treasures that we didn't know what they were. We kind of had to maybe guess, and maybe, something that looked almost maybe like a ladle or something. Perhaps, this was something that people used as binoculars for their eyes. I don't know. They could have been anything, really. Who knows what weird, strange creatures used to live in these strange brick statues and weird, I guess they're kind of houses, if we were to go by modern vernacular, but it was a strange and interesting sight with things that left more questions than answers.
And Jess, did you succeed on your mission?
Some people might not think so, but my character definitely thinks we succeeded.
Fabulous. Let's, speaking of, meet the characters. As the ship sways beneath you, the morning shift has already begun, breakfast was already eaten, and your day's jobs are ahead of you as you make your way towards what is the closest thing that the Serpent Fang can call home after such a long journey. Beginning with Jess, will you please introduce your character?
Absolutely.
Who are you? What do you look like? What job do we find you doing during morning watch? And how do you feel about returning home?
Yeah, so you would see Coralie, who is a small purple Gorgonesque type ardent. So, half snake, half human looking. They have their hair braided to the side. And if you listen closely to their hair, you can hear a little hissing going on, because each different braid is actually a snake head. They wear kind of dark black tight clothing. They protect their eyes with heart glasses. And I think this morning you would see them just kind of leaning over the ship, looking at the water, not necessarily doing anything, just being there. They happen to be the captain, and whether or not other folks think that they're a good captain is up for them to decide, and it's not really any of Coralie's business. Coralie uses they and any pronouns.
Fabulous. The leaves roll before you, Coralie, You're beginning to know where you are. The verdancy changes constantly, but there's some intrinsic understanding of all of your comings and goings that the heading is right. And you're getting close. Let's roll over to Erica. Erica, who are you? What do you look like? What job do we find you doing during morning watch? And how are you feeling about returning home?
So, you would see if you were to go into the kitchen of the boat, Stig, who is the living embodiment of a bog. The magic of this world long ago basically gave birth to Stig out of the almost looks like primordial ooze. Skin is like mud, just kind of like sloshing down, especially if Stig is ever getting like sweaty or working up. What we would call a sweat is more just like sludge and mud and maybe little, just wet gunk. Also, you would notice outside of their very red Paul Bunyan-esque plaid shirt, everywhere almost like bursting forth is little mushrooms and spores and twigs, branches, just anything you might find in a bog. It seems to just be growing from Stig at this point, with sort of like almost seaweed-like hair coming out of the muddy skin of their face. You would see for eyes like these almost like two glowing blue orbs. You can really get a sense of Stig's eyes and such. Working in the kitchen, cleaning pots and pans and the plates and bowls of the crew after this morning, Stig is relatively happy, like whistling a little tune. You would also notice that wherever Stig goes, sludge of the bogginess kind of is left behind. So the kitchen, it really looks almost like a bog unto itself. You would feel like a steamy saltiness of a bog when you walked into the kitchen. So the walls of the kitchen are growing spores and spices and plants, and sometimes you'll see Stig plucking from them in his, her, or any their pronouns. Cooking, they might take a little rose from their arm, or take some cinnamon from a little mound of goo from near the ceiling, just wherever. And in terms of they're relatively happy, but there is this almost boiling undercurrent underneath them of they didn't quite get to cook the feast they hoped that they could have sometime in this very, very long journey. They love to cook food, and he has been trying to cook food for like a feast to end all feasts. And she didn't quite feel like she got there on this trip. So while it was a good trip, it was okay. Just there's something more beating and churning within Stig for a good meal.
Fabulous. Maybe she'll get to cook it. Alex, your turn. Who are you? What do you look like? What job do we find you doing during morning watch? And how do you feel about returning home?
So I will be playing Slake Queen, or Slake Queen. And I am a Mothran. So kind of like a humanoid moth. I would say her colors are gray with like that really pretty tint of blue. When the light hits just right in the morning, you can kind of see that shine off of her. And she's been reborn 6 times. And each time a Mothran is reborn, they have memories of their past selves, but they are a whole new person. And so what she does to honor those past memories is after she's reborn, she paints her memories on her wings from the life that was before in a way to honor it before moving on into her new life. And as she was painting those, that's where she saw the waves and the ocean and decided this is the world she wanted to be a part of. As she honors her new life, she braids pieces of her journey into her hair. So you'll see feathers from where she first started, which is up in the trees, living that high life. And they're very fancy, so all her colors are very bright and standoutish, I would say, even though they're still piratey. The colors don't kind of look like they belong on a pirate ship. From our last trip with the ruins, she braided in a piece that she found from the building into her hair just to tie that new journey in. And this morning, she was tasked with kind of freshening up the ship, which for her meant painting a mural. So she is painting pieces of the journey that they've had over the last 2 years as they're coming back into port.
As you're painting, one of the many obstacles that you face are the rig ferrets trying to not step in it, but they keep on stepping in. So there's beautiful paint, and then every so often there's just little ferret feet tracking paint around, slightly displacing it. It's not obscuring your beautiful artwork, but there are occasional, we'll say incidental pieces of art going with it. And last but not least, Greg, who are you? What do you look like? What job do we find you doing this morning watch? And how do you feel about returning home?
So Enshi is a 6-foot long cactus person who has a large flower on the top of their head that looks much more like a sun hat than a flower, and then various blooms that happen throughout his body depending on what the weather is like. And this morning, because sun is the best nourishment, and she is lying stomach down on the main deck, sprawled out, and before him are books and maps and logs as he's going through, making sure that everything that happened over the last journey has been recorded. As much of the map that we can get has been checked, very much making sure that everything is in place, that we have a full accounting of exactly what happened, the names of people we met, where we ended up, what we saw, descriptions, and he's very, very much engrossed in just doing all of that writing and making sure that it's captured. We know what we did. We have a log of what happened.
You all can hear the rolling of the waves around you, that that is constant on the Wildsea. But it begins to kind of quiet for a moment. The waves not changing, but there's something in the air. I would say, Coralie, you're sitting and just kind of watching, and you can see that a whole pack of pinwolves just in the distance, a group of very native creatures of the Wildsea that tend to hunt in packs, but they're not necessarily aggressive on their own. They're wild wolves. And you can see them running at a distance away from your destination.
I think I'd just kind of call out to no one in particular, just whoever's nearby. Just absolutely love seeing the pinwolves kind of running around doing the thing. They're so free. And you know, I think maybe if I wasn't on this ship, I'd want to be a pinwolf, just doing what they love, you know? And again, to no one in particular, just saying it to anyone who will listen.
From the deck, we are doing what we love. I thought that was the point of being on this ship, Captain.
Yeah, well, Inichi, I mean, like, if we didn't have the ship, and if we weren't doing what we love, I don't know.
You would rather be doing something that somebody else loves?
Right, you're making a good point, friend. I'm just saying, if for whatever reason this ship was to blow up and I had a different life, and not this one, the one that we're currently living, but if it was to happen like that, I would want to be a pinwolf. So yes and no.
And you just hear from the kitchen with the clanging of cleaning pots and pans. The ship is blowing up! What? The ship is blowing up! My spices!
Captain, we have talked about this numerous times. It's been 2 years of how jumpy our crew gets when you go on these dreams, I think we've decided to call them.
I think that Coralie would hold up a finger to Anichi and yell out, Stig, friend, no. Not blowing up. Just not even talking about it. Nope. And then Coralie will, like, take their hands, put it over an eyebrow, and say, yeah, it's just, I'm a dreamer. Always have been, always like it. We'll work on it. And then Coralie will kind of stroke his hair and say, right, girls, we're going to work on it. And then you'll hear...
Without, like, looking around, just still painting the picture. Just remember, dreams are meant to be in your head, not to the rest of the crew. Keep that in mind in the future.
That's not that fun, though. Dreams are meant to be shared. That's why I have a dream journal. You guys have read it multiple times. I've, done story time with the crew.
Not by choice. Those are mandatory.
Speaking of
the level of detail in each of your dream journals, the mandatory lectures, the paintings that you have had created, the pantomimes the ferrets do, all of it has certainly made this journey memorable.
And that's exactly what we want.
You hear again from the kitchen, ferret stew? That's what you want for dinner? Ferret stew? Is that what I hear?
Leave the ferrets alone.
Stig is
two
trying
of the
to
ferrets
the crew.
stop in the rigging and just kind of look at each other, look at the kitchen door, and then climb down to Slake, just like going back to doing whatever she's doing, trying to hide in their little holes that are built into the sides of the ship.
And she's like, just pets them. It's okay. They can't cook you this time. We won't let them do that again. Don't worry.
This time.
And again, 2 choices.
Speaking of dreams, as you stand there and you all enjoy the morning sun, the sweet smell of familiar, very verdant trees, in the distance, going the opposite direction as the pinwolves, like a sheet of rain, a ribbon of a dusty compound blows over the deck of the Serpent Fang, first hitting Enchi, then Slake, blowing like a breeze into where Stig is, and then across the bow to Coralie. On it, just for a second, you swear you hear music. A deep, sonorous voice humming, and the low, pure sound of a bow-drawn string instrument. There are words in this. What is that? Salt. As you taste it on your tongue and you feel the light sting of it upon your skin, those of you who have skin, and the rest of you might desiccate a little bit, but it doesn't hurt. But the words that you hear are different for each of you. Enchi, you receive the whisper, the kiss of amber. Slake, you receive the whisper, the cut of time. Stig, you receive the whisper, the beatless heart. And Coralie, you receive the whisper, the ties that bind. When the final word for each echoes in your mind, the last thing you hear is, look. As the whisper of salt blows towards the horizon and towards your destination, it pelts the leaves just as it dissipates half a league away. You hear it. You really hear something, actually. A deep rumble that surfaces up from as deep as the bones of the world below the trees. It comes alive with movement as creatures beneath on the surface begin to move all at once, as ahead of you, a root quake begins. A incident very common on the Wildsea where roots and trees and Krezerin find water and cause massive growth all at once. How do you all react?
Immediately scoop everything up. Close all the books, scoop up the maps, and head straight towards the inside to put them into protection. That is my primary goal.
Looking at Inchi scooping everything, I'm going to call out to Stig and say, right thing, not blowing up, but there is a quake. Be on the look. To reiterate, not blowing up.
Yeah, I think feeling the vibrations of this event happening, Stig goes out and is concerned. He hears what the captain is saying, but also is like, that feeling of that extra layer of saltiness even. I think Stig may produce a jar from below some of the muddy exterior and tries to bottle some of that. It's just swings it around, and if there's anything flying up in the air, tries to just collect it for potential. Who knows? Might make a good spice. You never know till you try.
Sure.
Slake is gonna swing her way up to the top of the boat so that she can kind of see what's going on beyond. But as she's doing it, she's just gonna scream back, "Yet! You forgot that yet word. We're not blowing up yet." And then swings up to the top.
Incredible. Let's put some rolls to this just for fun, since we are playing a game with dice. We're gonna actually start with Stig. So the wonderful thing about the Wildsea is that it is a dice pool system where all you have to do is count how many d6s you are rolling and then give me the highest number. And if you roll pairs, I also would love to know that. So for your collecting, there's a wonderful ability already within the Wildsea's basic abilities called Scavenge. I will take Scavenge, I will take Cook, or I will take Harvest.
Well, considering I have some points in cooking, I will use the Cook one.
Fabulous. And given the peculiar nature of what you were trying to collect, I will say Tides is your edge. So that is 2d6 just based on your skills and your edge. So I need you to roll 2d6 unless you have another ability you'd like to try and add.
I think that is, based on what I see here, I think that's going to be good. All right. I rolled a 5 and a 6.
Fabulous. So that is a triumph. You have probably collected many samples on the Wildsea and are probably very adept at this. So how do you coax the salt from the air and the imminent changing topography of the Wildsea into a resource that you may collect?
I think for cooking purposes, Stig actually has like a Bunsen burner type situation. Just opens a flame and just flings it through the air with. It's very adept, despite being just sludge. Stig moves quite gracefully when they want to, and just almost like a dance, collecting and swinging this Bunsen burner contraption through the air. It captures some of the humidity and moisture, and then the Bunsen burner helps to steam out any of the moisture, so that all is left is little granules of salt at the bottom of the jar.
Wonderful. You scoop this up, and salt in particular is such an interesting thing that it is not only still delicious, because salt is so tasty and good for probably most of the people that you cook for. Not all of them, but a fair amount of them. But you know that salt is tied to, again, that fascinating pre-verdancy, the world of strange ladles and fire. Your burner probably is a very controlled thing, because fire on the Wildsea is extremely dangerous. But you have to cook somehow, right? But it goes out probably the moment that you are done collecting. because it's a world of trees, and the trees in their core have extremely reactive amber and a sap called crezerin that, should it catch on fire, it could burn for days, it could burn for years. But you are very gifted with your slight use of flame and the salt that you collect. You know that these words that you were given, and all of you would know this, the words that you were given are actually a resource called a whisper. And mechanically, above table, what that means is that these are actual resources that you can expend. If you whisper them, it gains, I think, a d6 to your roll. If you say them aloud where everyone can hear, it affects change around you on top of that. And if you yell it, you can actually affect relatively large change within the world. Because these are not just words, these are pieces of memory gifted to you by the Wildsea. As you feel this root quake, and I think that you see all of the rig ferrets all hide in their little holes, they know the drill, and it rolls around you, and for the most part, it entirely avoids the ship. The Serpent Fang sits and waits, the jog tracks just kind of hooked into the branches, as ahead of you, a great deep oak is pushed from the depths. It rises like a great leafy leviathan, snapping at the sun and the stakes, and it shakes off the leaves like tossing water from the back of a large beast surfacing when there was an ocean. A puff of dust appears to erupt from its side that shifts and moves in the wind as if by intention. It moves, and you begin to see it isn't dust at all, but rather a group of freshly disturbed large moths shaken loose from a tree. And among them, just at the pinprick of your vision, Coralie, as you are at the bow and actually looking out at the world, you see a glint of copper that catches the sun among this cloud.
How big is the glint of copper?
Let's roll a sense. So for you, it will be instinct, so that's 1 die, plus sense, which is another 2. Yeah. So go ahead and roll 3d6 for me and tell me what your highest roll is.
Okay, while I'm doing this, I'm going to read a donation from one of our lovely viewers who says, "A reroll for my favorite lady. I'm so proud that you're out there in the TTRPG space, and it's amazing to get to share this journey with you." And I think that she knows who it's from and who it's for.
That's so cute.
It was very cute. I rolled a 2, 4, and a 5.
Oh, okay, fantastic. So that is a success with a conflict. You see that among this pinprick in what is essentially a cloud of moths, it is attached to a fairly large structure that seems to be kind of wedged into the branches of this tree. Your conflict is that around it, you recognize the moths to be foot-long hymnal moths, and as you have this realization, you can hear this song that just kind of journeys out from them. They are known for being peaceful. They're not going to attack you should you approach, but their dust from their wings and such things can have some peculiar effects.
Like poisonous effects, or
like you've probably heard stories of people who have come in contact with them, especially going into interesting salvage situations, which it sounds like the Serpent Fang does, of sailors just walking into the thrash, of sailors not necessarily harming themselves, like they just get scooped up again, it's dangerous to do that, but for the most part, ships are used to people falling overboard and that kind of stuff. But it gives people strange dreams, essentially, sometimes while they're still awake.
I think everyone would hear Coralie kind of pipe up and say, right, friends, there's some bronze glint over there. But there's some moths. And I know that you guys love dreaming. I know that you love dreaming so much and hearing about me dream. But those moths, cause funky dreams sometimes when you're awake. So, as much as I want to go over there, it's gonna need to be something that we decide on as a group because it could be probably pretty dangerous.
I would be willing to go if it means my own dreams instead of yours.
And you'll just hear all of the snakes.
Does that mean yes?
Well, like I said, this has to be kind of a group decision. And Coralie will then look at the other two to see if they're interested or not.
And she steps back out after locking everything down. Well, I mean, what's one more adventure before we go home?
I mean, if we do this and we go do that and it takes up some more time, that means more meals I get to cook. So I'm for whatever, we got to do. Moths give you crazy dreams. Imagine, that in a nice stew. That could be interesting.
You'll see Coralie kind of nodding their head, and then they'll whisper, psychedelic. Right. Okay, Will, and Coralie will just kind of point in the direction of the bronze that they saw, or the copper that they saw, and the moths, and say, Will, I guess maybe, when we exit, we should do a buddy system. So, watch after your buddy, because it's dangerous. You know the drill. And then they'll just kind of throw their hand and walk over to the side of the ship and just look out.
And she will go to actually where we steer and control and say, all right, this is where we need to go, and give the directions and spin some dials to give the actual navigations. All right, that's where we're heading. Thank you.
Enchi, would you like to roll for us to get over there?
Sure.
I would say let's. How about this? How do you approach? You know how to steer the ship. That's not what this role is about. How do you approach the cloud of moths? And as you get closer, what you see is a fairly large ruin sticking out of this tree.
So I think, how Enchi does pretty much everything is just goes through every book he's ever read, every tale he's ever heard to sort of figure out anything that gives an advantage. So, if there's ever a folktale that says only approach these moths from the right side because they tend to favor their left, that is sort of like the tact that is how he decides to plot out the course to get in and around. Just has complete faith in the ship to do ship things. Just very much is got the brain of, okay, let's pick our way carefully through to understand how the world works just through all the learning, especially over the last 2 years.
Fabulous. Well, then let's call this a sharps roll using your brain.
Okay.
And I'll take a study roll as you plan your approach using your knowledge.
All right. So I think that is 2. I got a 1 and a 5.
That's the best thing about the Wildsea. That one doesn't matter. Don't worry about it.
Not concerned about the one.
Nope. Don't even think about it. You're good. A 5 is a conflict, so you succeed, but there is a slight drawback. As you approach, the moths, you know, they're not the most predictable. They are kind of riding a section, and one of the things that you know as you make your approach is specifically hymnal moths are known for their particular location, as they tend to be a signal of interesting salvage from the pre-verdant sea. And I think as this occurs to you, you see that this is a decent sized piece of building. It's not just a single vehicle or something like that, like many of the salvages that make it all the way up to the surface. This is like a corner of a building. You can actually see white stone, and the copper is actually a copper fixture of what looks like maybe a spout or a hook. Maybe it's a piece of ship. You're not really sure. That is jutting outward, and then the stonework and everything, you are actually able to kind of see that there was a window of some sort. And as you're studying all of this, the hymnal moths spread wider and wider and wider, and one of them makes a pass over the ship. And I'm gonna roll to see who it lands on. Coralie, what dream comes to you while you are waking of
Oh no.
rolling Wildsea?
I tried, everybody. I really tried.
So now this is a dream that I will be acting out, or
It is just what you see, and you can decide how much or how little Coralie actually reacts to it.
okay. Coralie sees themselves, as well as each of her crew members, turn into a pine wolf and start running through a mountainside. And Coralie is just like, right then, that's absolutely wild. I mean, I said that if this wasn't happening, that I would want to be a pine wolf, and now I'm a pine wolf, and oh my god, this is amazing. Wow. Are you guys seeing this? Oh. Oh. And they're just gonna howl at you a little bit until something happens and run around.
Incredible.
She just looks at Slake like, please deal with this.
If I must.
I think among the howling Coralie, you also hear that song again, but it doesn't have the humming. You just hear this bowing string instrument playing almost a lullaby. And this time you really hear it. It isn't some breath on the wind. It is like someone is playing this song out loud from within the tree.
And only I hear it.
Because of your current state.
That tree over there, that seems like a very nice place to be at. Shall we, fancy a dash?
Okay, Enchi, am I following the wolf off the ship?
I guess.
At the mention of the wolf, Coralie is going to whip her head back and go, ow!
Somehow your snakes are also howling.
I don't know how to house, but
I feel like the S comes first, so it's like, so. Put too much thought into it, I'm sorry. Slake is gonna put on like a long coat that goes down to the ground that has a hood, and it's got colors on it that create a pattern if you move or sway it.
Oh, beautiful.
And then she's going to follow off the ship.
Stig, are you joining in this Pinwolf pack?
I think Stig is watching what's happening. Looks back. Oh, we're doing this, I guess. Okay, and then I think the path that Stig took from the kitchen to on the deck now, he leaves a sludge everywhere he goes, and from that sludge, like a little he's got like almost like a slingshot, a spore slingshot, like comes like it's a little tool he carries with him when he goes off the boat, and it's like it's carried by fungal things across the trail up Stig, and she takes it. She's like, "All right, gonna tuck it like in a little like apron thing, and all right, wherever the captain goes, I guess," and sludges off after the howling wannabe wolf.
You know, I was about to say I like this crew, but I cannot believe that you just called him a wannabe wolf. How dare you? Wow.
And while you're being so responsible with the ship, are you also disembarking?
Once I'm sure the ship is anchored properly, and I've had a brief moment to talk to the ferrets about just do these things, clean up the deck, and okay, and then I will follow.
Fabulous. You weigh anchor. It's easy. One of the best things about not having to go all the way down to the bottom, because the best thing about a wild sailor's ship is that in order to weigh anchor, you really just kind of like connect yourself to the largest part of one of the large trees around you. So your anchoring system is fairly straightforward. It's like a claw game. You just lower the large claw down into the brush, and you can hear it deep down, and you know that is fairly taut and secure. And the rig ferrets go back to their job of straightening things up, and I think you see one going up to where Coralie was leaning over the banister, and like with their tail like polishing the railing, and they keep the ship beautiful. They're doing great. And you all disembark. I'm gonna say Slake, you haven't rolled for us yet, and you are disembarking before most everyone. Why don't you give us a roll? Let's take a I'm gonna say a study roll while you look around and try and understand what this particular ruin is. And I'll take a Veil's Edge, so that's 2. And if someone, say, wanted to help or is looking with their pinwolf eyes, you could even add another d6.
Definitely looking with my pinwolf eyes and my nose, just sniffing everything, figuring it all out.
Yep, it went well, guys. Don't you worry. Solid
This
roll.
face says otherwise.
I got a 1 and a 4.
Okay, four's not bad. 4 will get you there.
Okay, I didn't burn the place down.
No, you're fantastic. So you have done this before. This is what you've been doing for 2.5 years, and most of the ruins that you found, for the large part, were smaller. They were. There was the one really big one that had all of the interesting stuff that is most of what is inside of the Serpent Fang's hull, as far as what you're bringing back. But a lot of them were at least a little touched. One of the interesting things about the Wildsea is that it pushes up new ruins from the depths regularly. And this one is peculiar because it is actually held into the tree by a river of amber. Crezerin that actually grew over the edge of this building and held on to the corner. And the difficulty here is that it's at an angle. You're on a branch of a tree that is freshly moved, so you're not entirely sure how safe the floor is to walk on. And there are leaves and all kinds of detritus from who knows how long of this just hanging in this tree all over the floor. So the floor it's going to be slow going to come and go over it. It might be a little bit unreliable to stand on it for too long. But you do see the remains of a large piece of wooden furniture, a table of some sort or a desk, a bookshelf, all connected to this flow of amber, and in the middle of it, a figure.
Do we recognize the figure?
Without rolling anything, you can tell that this is a humanoid figure, and one of the peculiarities of the Wildsea is that it happens every so often. People find people from before the Verdant encased in amber. Sometimes they can even get them out, and they're alive.
We found a person. It's another thing to collect. A new shipmate.
Would love to add another pinwolf to the crew. Did you hear that?
We don't collect people. We do rescue people and ask them if they wish to join. It isn't collection.
Is that not how we all got here? Were we not all collected by the captain?
I do collect friends. It is one of my favorite activities.
And she would also know that excavating someone from amber is a very delicate process, but the good news is where you are headed, your home port of Marrow, is full of scholars and specifically people who either were encased in amber, as the case of I think the Architect King is the name of the overseer of Marrow, your home port, who is a person who came from amber. But it's a slow process. It isn't someone that you're going to awaken in the next day.
Got it. So not awakening here, taken back on the ship.
Correct.
Can we see their facial expressions?
Yeah. You're gonna get closer?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm gonna need you to roll to get there, given how precarious the building is. Let's call this I will take a vault and would you say you're doing this determined? Are you using your keen senses to walk carefully?
Wolf senses.
I do think that I am using my newfound wolf senses to do this.
Fantastic. Then we'll call this an instinct roll. So that is a 2 to get there.
I rolled a 6.
Fantastic. What does it look like as you dance across this otherwise precarious scene?
I think it looks exactly like the pinwolves that I saw earlier. I am just kind of trotting along. The wind is blowing my nice mane in the back, and my tail is just happily swaying from side to side.
Please tell me your tongue is, you're just like...
The best thing about pinwolves is they have a split lower jaw, so the tongue is always out.
So there you go. There's your answer.
Yes, you get closer, and within now you can actually see a slim, deep topaz-skinned man with pristine white robe over a white stand collar and golden round glasses. His hair is in oversized shoulder length flat twists that seem to float weightlessly in the amber. And the most notable thing is that as you get closer, it looks like they're reaching towards you, Coralie. The hand is outstretched, and you can actually see that just the very ends of this person's fingers are missing.
Yeah, so they're missing their fingertips, but they're beautifully dressed. Yes, Coralie will look at Inchi and say, "We're not collecting, but we should take them back with us to help them. Maybe even get them some new fingertips."
We should rescue them.
Rescue.
We talked about words.
Rescue them. Yes.
Do you need help over there?
Yeah, I don't think that my pinwolf paws are going to be able to carry them back. So yes.
So I think we've done rescue before, so I'll give whoever wants it an end of the rope while I head over.
Fantastic. So we're gonna use on your ship. You luckily have multiple ways of collecting salvage, and so you actually have a crane that is kind of attached to your observation post that you can just kind of swing out and like run a long claw to kind of grab a huge section of this. But this is gonna, I think, take. I'm gonna say this is a whole crew endeavor. So if everyone could tell me how they are assisting, and we will do some rolls for excavation.
So I am going to cross over to next to the figure. So I'm going to activate my storm stride.
Oh, cool.
Which allows me to float for a brief time, so that I don't have to worry about the more dangerous area. I'm just gonna like get myself over into the other area and get ready to help like maneuver the claw so that we can like do it without causing a lot of damage.
As you activate your storm stride, you have to tell me what it looks like.
So, like, you're all used to this and she just puts his hands together for a bit and then just rubs a little, and you can see the spark start, and then over all of the little tips of the needles, light, it just trickles down from the fingers all the way down until it starts to coagulate around his feet, and then you've seen it before where it just repulses things around from him, and he rises up and then takes that moment as he feels himself running to like launch forward. So he's got like these crackly lightning-esque feet as he just sails across, and times it to turn them off just not to hurt anybody, to land softly on the other side.
So cool. Fantastic. Stig, how are you assisting in this excavation?
I think Stig is going to maybe use the ability of, I think, was it wave walking, which is kind of because of the sludgy nature of Stig. It's kind of like little tendrils of fungi come out and like help just like leaps across a little bit onto some more tree and just sort of like helps slide-ish guzzle across. And almost, I think, because Stig always leaves a little trail of stuff, almost makes like a little bridge of sludge that, you give it a few minutes, it'll harden enough to help people, create a nice strong foundation for people to get across and move about without fear of falling through into the depths below.
That's so cool. I am going to have you roll just to see how successful your bridge is. I'm going to make this tides and wave walk.
Okay, so that's 3D.
3 dice.
Here we go. This is triple nat ones. Here we go. My heist is a 6.
Okay, fantastic.
We're getting
Then you-
6.
You are
Oh.
quite skilled at making this bridge. You've probably done it many, many times. And it is safe enough for the others to walk on to maybe go back to the ship or to meet Enchi over at the Amber. It is up to you all.
Well, I think that Coralie is already at the Amber. So
Yes. That's true.
they will look back over at Slake and kind of motion over. And I think even Coralie's hair would kind of like beckon for you to come over to help.
Don't forget to bring the claw. We do need that piece. If you could just go back and grab it, then
I've got it. I will rescue the claw. Slake is going to collect the claw, and since she's grown up in the trees and trained there for a year, she's going to have kind of move about, kind of ignoring all the work Stig did, but knowing that we're going to need that on the way back anyway. So she's just going to go through the branches, kind of flowing through and bringing the claw over.
Fantastic. You know how to operate this. This is not a roll. You bring the claw to everyone. We have now the operation of attaching the claw to the Amber. So which between Slake and Coralie, which of you is going to spearhead that operation?
Coralie is just going to lift up their pinwolf paws and say, right then, again, I don't think these paws are gonna work this time. I'm sorry. When I wake up, though, when I'm a snake again, definitely will help.
All right, Slake.
For clarification, we just see normal self,
Oh,
right?
yeah. This is just your captain, not a
For
pinwolf.
clarification, none of y'all have asked.
Nope.
Y'all
Not
were
one
just
of you
like,
asked.
oh, he's a wolf now. Cool, got it.
Surprisingly, it's nothing new for us.
I mean, I think at that point, Captain,
Yes.
can you expand on pause? Can you fill in?
Yeah.
Slake has already started, by the way.
Yeah. So Inchi, the moth kind of, put me into a slumber, and now I'm sleeping. And we're all, actually, that's very funny that you ask this because you're a wolf too. We're all wolves right now. Earlier we were talking about how if I wasn't doing this anymore, I'd want to be a pinwolf. And now I'm a pinwolf, and I love it. I'm so good at it. Oh!
Yes, Captain, I do want to disagree on a couple of important points. We are not sleeping right now, nor are you.
Yes, but if I wasn't asleep, how would I be a pinwolf? We can disagree on some things, but riddle me that, Inchi.
Can I ask a question, please?
Yes.
If the captain's paws don't work to crane, but we're all pinwolves, how are my paws working? Should I stop?
Do not stop.
Okay, I'll continue using my paws.
In Slake,
that
see,
point-
that's the thing that I was saying. It's very funny that we're all pinwolves, but your paws are working. I can see them. But these paws are meant for walking. And it's just fulfilled you.
I think Stig is looking up at the moths like, I have got to get me some of these moths.
I know that look. It is just one hand and a shaking. No. No.
But
I'm pointing at the
Oh my
No.
Alex, will you please roll for me to see how well you excavate this? This is going to be a harvest, and I'm going to say iron.
Okay.
So it's 2d6 to, yeah. Oh,
Y'all, I should not be the one rolling.
you do have a reroll.
I do?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's
Yes.
great, because I rolled a 1 and a 3, and I think I'd kill the person in the amber if we go with that. So I'll take that reroll. I'm going to switch my
Fabulous.
dice just in case. Let's see how it goes. Oh, that was much better. I got a 4 and a 5.
Fantastic. All right, we'll definitely take that 5. The claw, which is like a
Nice.
person-sized claw, the claw,
That claw.
is quite an operation to set up, and I think it has different like variations of how hard it clamps down on something. And in this case, I think that the conflict is as you tighten the claw around this, getting ready to use your ship to pull it away from this wall, you see a crack form right near the wall in the amber that just kind of moves towards the figure inside of this amber.
Could does Styx sludge seal things?
I mean, it made a bridge, didn't it?
Let me. There's oh gosh, I think sees it. The cracks and like just like rubbing arms all over, up and down the crack. Like oh god, that's cracking. That's not an egg. It's not an egg.
Oh my gosh. Just to see how well you seal this up, let's get a roll. Let's call this a oof. I think that this has got to be just an instinct or a tides roll, just flat out of you trying, because I think all of the abilities of like concoct or any harvest or any of those don't quite fit. So let's just do a straight roll. Let's see how well you seal up this crack.
Oh god, I've
A
only got one.
straight roll during Pride Month.
I know.
Being
I'm
homophobic.
sorry.
Kai, what a crime.
Acceptable.
Well, luckily I didn't need it because I rolled a 6.
This is why I do it to Erica, because this inevitably is what happens.
I'm going to need more rerolls, chat. I am telling you now.
Yeah, you smear your lovely swamp material across this amber, and it seems to go into the crack and harden the same way you made that bridge. And the last thing that I need from you all is a pull. Who is going to pull the crane? Ah!
Oh god.
Incredible.
The person who said I shouldn't
Did
be
we-
rolling.
Did we learn nothing?
This is
I
hilarious.
think we
I
learned
love this for me.
everything.
Any books or any
Yeah.
other treasures that might be in this area.
Oh, there
So-
were books.
We will get to that.
I'm fully distracted, so it's not gonna be me.
Yeah. All right, Alex.
All right.
Roll to pull. This is going to be I was just looking at your sheet. I had an answer for this. This is going to be iron
Got that.
and harvest.
Okay. So still 2.
Yeah.
Y'all are not gonna believe it, but I got a 3 and a 6.
Oh, fantastic.
I joined the 6 crew.
As the claw pulls and you can feel the structure of this ruin kind of shift. So you only have a limited amount of time left on here, but it does pull the amber away, and it's going to be a slow operation, so you're going to have a moment here. But as the amber is pulled away from the wall and you can hear the cracking that seems to resonate all the way down the tree, and you pull away this figure encased in amber, a man out of time. We're going to take a break.
Yee! Okay, gosh darn, I wanted to know more about them.
I know I was invested.
Well, my friends, like I said, we are going to do a quick break. We're going to get some food, we're going to drink some water, do a bio break, do a shrimp check. While we're doing that, you should do that too, and you should know that we're raising funds for Trans Lifeline, an absolutely fantastic organization. Yeah, really for the trans community, by the trans community. They provide direct emotional and financial support to trans folks in crisis. If you go to our pinned chat right now, you will see a Tiltify link where you can donate straight to Trans Lifeline. They get 100% of the donations. And you'll also see some really cool and unique ways that you can help shape the game, like a $10 donation for a reroll that you can just say that goes straight to Alex because she needs it. You can give auto successes, you can gift a bane or a boon to the party, and you can even name the next NPC that Kai has to use. So, just remember that. Also, when you donate, you get entered into a drawing to win one $50 gift card to Heartbeat Dice, because we all need more TTRPG dice in our life, as well as candles from Pack Pizzle's Candles. So, we're going to be back in 5 short minutes. Make sure you check out Trans Lifeline in the meantime, and we will see you soon. Hi everyone, and welcome back. Thank you so much for joining us for part 2 of our Wildsea TTRPG stream that is benefiting Trans Lifeline, an amazing grassroots hotline and microgrants organization that offers direct emotional and financial support to trans people in crisis. It is truly an organization that is for the trans community by the trans community. Just so everyone knows, the first $100 that we raised tonight is matched by Bogus Cheesecake, and we are over halfway there. Bogus Cheesecake is an amazing Alaskan-based TTRPG group that makes really cool supplements for TTRPGs like Belarius. When you donate to the Trans Lifeline through our Tiltify link, you get entered in to win one $50 gift card to Heartbeat Dice, because we all know that we need more dice because we're all dice goblins. You also get entered in to win one of 3 candles to Pack Pizzle Candles. They're absolutely fantastic. I would show one off, but I have just moved, and the Pack Pizzle Candles are currently packed away. With all that being said, y'all, you can help shape our game with your donations. For a $10 donation, you can gift a reroll. For a $25 donation, you can gift an auto success. I saw Alex saying, "Me, help me," and she needs it, as do we all. For a $50 donation, you can give a bane or boon to the whole party. And for a $75 donation or more, you can name the next NPC. With that being said, Coralie, our silly little captain, is going to go ahead and kick it off with the recap of what y'all have missed during part 1. So anyway, there we were. It was me and Inchi, and we just kind of went hanging out on the ship, and we were talking about dreams, and I said, because I saw them, if I could be anything except what I am right now, that I would like to be a pinwolf, just free in the wild. And then you know what happened? Some silly moth dust got on me, and I started dreaming, and now I'm pinwolf. And
You forgot about the part where you talked about blowing up the ship in order to become a pinwolf. You forgot that part. I was very worried. I was very I am worried about the safety of our boat now. I'm with Inchi on this one. Our boat needs to come first.
I think we're also forgetting that some of us were doing work while you were hanging out and sharing those dreams.
It's true.
While sharing of the dreams is important work, remember we all agreed to support the important work of dream sharing. For our own well-being, we have agreed. There was an incident that we had to deal with, a small quake, if we all remember the actual danger that happened.
Yeah.
My goodness. There was danger, which we successfully avoided, and we did find another wonderful piece of salvage thanks to the captain's keen eye. I will give credit where credit is due.
Friend, not salvage. Friend.
Well, we don't.
Because we're not collecting. We're not collecting.
We're rescuing.
We're rescuing.
What we now know is a person to rescue. We did not know that at the time.
Yes, and yet again, I'm doing a lot of the heavy lifting.
You are very good at it.
Hey, look! I sludged my way. I made a bridge with my sludge. I filled the crack that was forming with sludge. You know.
You are so right, Stig. You can take home a moth.
I'm trying to get them all because I think after this is over, we are all going to need some moth ale.
Proved. We are not on a capture. So, okay, again, we rescue people. If we take a living sentient being, that is a capture event. We have covered these words.
Rescue. We're rescuing the moths. Rescuing.
The bats are not in danger. They do not need rescue.
I mean, they're collecting, you know, they're gonna be an ingredient.
Please point you again to the captain, who does currently believe they're a wolf.
Oh!
That is not the desired outcome.
Well, I don't know exactly how that wouldn't be the desired outcome, because I said that I would want to be a wolf, and now I'm a wolf. Sounds
so
pretty
these moths
desired
make
to
dreams
me.
come true for inside your head.
Well, you're a wolf too, my friend.
Oh.
I'm a bog.
Can we continue the very delicate rescue operation and save the philosophical wolf questions for when we are safely back on the ship?
Yes.
Behind you, you hear as this large piece of amber is dragged over the pre-verdant floor, collecting leaves and all kinds of detritus that's just been strewn around this floor. But it is moving, and while it is moving, Enchi, you were looking over the bookcase and desk in the room. Let's see what kind of wonderful salvage you find before heading back to port. Will you please roll for me a harvest, which you don't have much of. I will say sense. You are looking.
Okay.
And tides.
Okay. Oh, look at that. I am in the 6 club with a 4 and a 6.
Oh, yeah. Incredible. You look over this room, and most of the things in here have decayed, unfortunately. But one of the things you definitely find among the leaves and all of the other things, a moldering tome, which you may add to your resources, a thick, what was a nice leather-bound book, but now that leather has cracked and wilted, and there is definitely some life growing along the outside. But you open it ever so delicately. You've found many books like this over the years, and this one is in relatively good condition, all things considered. And as you open it, you see inside handwritten, pre-verdant music.
Immediately engrossed. None of you exist. This is the only thing Enchi is 100% focused on, like trying to decipher it, trying to figure it out, running what little I know about music through my head to sort of figure it out, and just completely stopped holding this thing.
We've lost him to the book. While that occurs, Stig, you wanted to collect some moth dust, or maybe a moth if you're really good. I will take either a harvest or a hunt to either gather some dust or a whole moth using grace to collect it, unless you have a pitch for me otherwise.
Yeah, I think Grace would do all right with that. And harvest. So I really only have the one dice, right?
Yes.
Okay. Come on! I have not failed to roll a 6 yet. Come, come! No, there's pressure. There's pressure. Oh, shit, the dice fell off the floor.
It escaped.
It's a bad sign.
Yeah. Should I play? I see what it is on the floor.
Floor dice don't count.
Yeah, it's got to be where you actually are meaning to roll it.
Okay.
Floor dice don't count.
Okay. It's a 2. All right. It was a 1
What?
on the floor. So.
Oof. What catastrophic thing prevents you from reaching these moths?
Catastrophic. I would picture that Stig kind of like really reaches for one of these moths with like a little moth net and like overstretches itself to a point of not being able to sustain Stigness and like flops over and the bog just like pours down. Maybe like there's a stairwell nearby that like goes into some ruins even deeper into the abyss, as it were. And yeah, the bog just rolls down the stairs.
I think the net also passes through your hand because you kind of lost form for a moment, and unfortunately does land on a moth. There is one standing next to you, and you definitely catch Slake while she is in the middle of working. And as you kind of roll down these stairs nearby, you hear beneath you and then a chitterback as beneath you you can hear some sort of sapient life form, a few of them, starting to move.
I think Stig slowly collecting self at bottom. You see like the red plaid shirt being brought down the steps by like fungal because it like flopped out of the plaid shirt that he wears, and as a mouth just forms in the bog puddle on the bottom of there, you see, we're not alone. We're not alone. Help!
Do
We
we
know
need
we're
to?
not alone. There's moths here. We've established this already.
Not that kind of alone. We're more not alone than we originally began to think. Could I get the pinwolf? Can the pinwolf come down?
Yes. And he trots over. And friends, captors, foes, frenemies.
You look down into the dark, and with your keen pinwolf senses, you smell the smell of damp fur, of that long decayed smell of loam. And you can smell when there is something to hunt.
What is it? How many are there?
I'm gonna have you roll with your keen pinwolf senses. Let's do a sense and instinct roll. So it's 3d6 for you.
I did get a 6.
Fantastic. At a 6, you recognize these to be macadrills, a common, easily gathered monkey-like species that specifically goes where there is salvage and where there are ships, because they basically on instinct fight machinery. And so the longer you stay here, the more likely it is that a few of them are going to go after your ship.
Oh, shoot. Right then. Did you have supper, scheduled for the night?
I thought I was gonna be what was it? The ferret stew? I haven't found the ferrets. Have you seen the ferrets? I couldn't find the ferrets.
Yeah, I don't think that we should have ferret stew. It was not feeling last time, and the ferrets kind of went on strike for like 2 days, and we had to do a lot of extra work. And I'm not pointing any fingers. Everything is totally fine, but just, in the future, probably not the ferrets.
I just going what someone said ferrets too. That's all I heard. So, Well then, fine. I have to start dinner from scratch again. Fine, it's fine. It's fine. I can throw something together.
And Coralie will hold up their paws and gesture down towards the monkeys.
You want you want stew? Are we collecting or rescuing? Because that's gonna determine what you're asking of me.
Rescuing my belly, collecting them for stew.
Oh, okay. Why didn't you say so? And pulls out the spore sling shot thing that she has. Anyone here ready to do some work? Listen to the voice upstairs.
I am working.
Around.
Is that not what we're already doing?
Okay.
Coralie, also with your 6, you gather that what Stig heard was only 3 of them, and there are probably many more throughout this tree.
Yeah, so there's a lot of them, I think. Snakes have really good smell, but pinwolves have really good hearing, and I can just hear more than 3. At least 4, probably much more.
So are you smelling or are you hearing right now?
That is such a great question. It's like I'm smelling with my ears.
Okay. So why don't I try to collect while, we get out of here, Captain?
Sounds great.
I
Sounds
think
absolutely perfect.
Stig is gonna look for the few that are within visual eyesight and start flinging some spores at some.
Fabulous. How are you going to attack them? What as you recoagulate, what is your approach?
Oh, let's see here. Let's do
You
it.
got your slingshot. This is going to be a hunt roll, just so you know. But I will say with Coralie there, either Coralie can also hunt, though that might not be the most efficient form of hunting for Coralie in this moment. You may either take an assist from Coralie, or you can just roll on your own, and that will be if you're using your slingshot, it's going to be Grace, and then with your spore slinger, you get to add a d6. Your hunt is a 0, unfortunately.
Yeah, so I got 2. I mean, I can knock them back if the captain wants to, help collect maybe, or use those vicious pinwolf double jaws to,
Absolutely. Coralie's just gonna kind of position themselves, underneath where you happen to be aiming, and we'll just kind of let their jaw hang out, and gently nibble on them. Because who doesn't like a pre-bitten piece of meat?
Look, I'll cook it. I'll wash it after. Jeez. Guess I got a 6.
You did it again?
I got another 6.
Oh my gosh. Shouldn't let you play this system, actually. I take it back.
You're just canceled out.
Yeah. Fantastic. What does this co-op look like as Stig fells one of the macadrills and Coralie catches it?
So I think from Stig's perspective, it's like a little tendril fungus with like, she's pulling back on the slingshot, and then the little tendril will like put in like a really hard type of mushroom or something, like something that's, I don't know, practically petrified, and just like poof, let go and flings the mushroom at a breakneck speed right in a way that might knock one of these creatures out in the head.
Yeah, the macadrills are more dangerous in groups than they are individually, and they have not fully gathered to make any kind of attack, though it's concerning that there's not more here. But you definitely hit the one. And Coralie, what does it look like as you catch this brightly colored monkey type creature that is wearing a mask? It's not sentient. It's like literally a piece of bark with holes poked in it, but it falls onto you.
So, in Coralie's perspective, he's on all fours, looking up for the jaw to catch. What y'all would see is Coralie still on all fours, but Coralie's hair has come down. They've snaked themselves out of the braid, and they've made the maw of the pinwolf, and so they're holding it right here at Coralie's face. And they're just catching as many as Stig would shoot down. Coralie's just trotting over, and everybody's doing their part.
Fantastic. After you've collected 2 using this method, those of you back on the Serpent Fang, the amber has reached, thanks to Stig's bridge and some very careful maneuvering and very well-placed claw, the amber is now on the deck. But you also hear an encroaching noise of a few creatures.
I'm thinking I know what they meant by "we're not alone."
Oh, what? Oh, how did I get back on the ship?
You walked. I watched it happen. I didn't collect. I promise.
I'll close the book and sort of like pack it away real quick, and then look around to see what's happening. What do we hear?
It doesn't even take a roll because they are very obvious. There are 2 like rust orange with frills of gold primates climbing up the side of the ship from the tree. And there are more. You can kind of see the tree beginning to move around you. These are machinery destroyers.
So I think Enchi's immediate reaction is to slap hands together and then point out to use Lightning's Call. I can direct a burst of voltaic energy through my palms or fingers to try to shock one off.
Fantastic. Let's roll some stuff. This will be probably Grace, since you have to like aim it.
Mm-hmm.
And let's do a for fun, let's do a flourish and a lightning's call. So that's 4d6 to hit.
Two, 2, 5, 6.
Oh, a pair and a triumph. So in the Wildsea, any doubles, also add a twist. And in this case, let's be really fun about it. You release this energy. What does it look like as your lightning explodes out of you even more potently than I think that you thought it was going to, and clears the side of the Serpent's Fang?
I think just having been in my own head, reading this book and just sort of being lost, like all of my normal, much more careful, much more controlled aspects just weren't there. So when I ought to just sort of like I have to do something, I hit together, and then literally my entire body lights up, and then it goes down and flies out. Something that hasn't happened since I first picked up this power. I have not felt that out of control before, and it's both sort of like exciting to remember the levels I can go to, but also somewhat terrifying that I did not mean to do that much.
The storm erupts out of Enchi, and Slake, you get a full burst of wind on you, and the tree shakes, and the two of you who are still further into this ruin can hear of the tree beginning to shift from the impact. I will tell you that you have only moments before you can tell that something is about to shift in this area. What do you do?
Seeing that Captain isn't back yet, and a deep sigh, and I just go, "Oh."
Oh.
What, are you okay, Captain?
Yes. I think that Enichi wants us back on ship. 2 should be good, right?
I'll 2 between 4 of us. I'll make it work. And just like sludges up, on each corner, and like the sludge just like wraps around their torsos to hold them in place on the shoulders.
You all rush aboard the Serpent Fang. The anchor is easy to pull up as you hear it release the tree. And just as you all get on board and you begin to feel your jog tracks take traction in the trees around you again, you can see this ruin, this moment in time, this place encased in amber shift as the only thing anchoring it to the branch has been taken aboard your ship. And the entire ruin begins to slide off of the branch as more of these Maka drills begin to swarm over the area. And you can see them kind of confused about where the machinery is that they were targeting as you pull away. Pull at some of the brickwork and the rebar and all of the pieces of this ruin as it begins to shift and fall into the depths again, possibly to never be seen by anyone that isn't a Maka drill for a very long time. But you all disembark. It was a close call, but you came away with strange new salvage, rescue, and you make your long journey. Maka drill stew is made, plenty to feed, despite Stig's concern. Maka drills are relatively large. And you make your way to Marrow. You smell it before you see it. Smoke. Everyone on the Wildsea learns quickly that fire is to be feared as it is volatile and it affects everything, including the Krezerin that beats in the veins of the world. But this smoke is familiar to you. It's the scent of home. Unique among the Wildsea, Marrow is one of the few safe places where things burn. There are factories and furnaces. There are all kinds of bakeries and blacksmiths among the many places within this peculiar refuge that cause the city to smoke. Plumes of it rise from bored holes and natural veins that dot the exterior of a sun-bleached gargantuan crow's skull that rests in the nest of the forest. This Leviathan skull is the safest port for open trade in the Reach for the Serpent Fang, and where at least some of you rest your head. It also happens to be the home of many scholars of the Pre-Verdancy for all of your trade goods and all of your tales and information that you've returned after this long journey to trade with, tell, and share. As you approach, Slake, do you consider Marrow home? Or is it just another port of call for you?
Just another port of call. it's not where she was from, and to her, the ship is now home.
Coralie, now that your dreams of pinwolfiness have dissipated in the fond twilight and into the morning, what drew you to Marrow in the first place?
I think people, that everyone was so incredibly friendly and kind, and just Corley, I think, was looking for a friend, looking for many friends to join their crew.
And Stig, what feeling washes over you as you see the familiar sight of Marrow on the horizon?
I think there's a feeling of there's excitement because this place represents commerce and being able to trade with others, hear what they've been finding, and maybe like, oh, well, you've got that, I've got this. Maybe you could, ingredients and spices and good food and everything of this, and being able to make. I mean, Stig makes for a small crew and feeds the ferrets, and now there's a chance to maybe feed a banquet hall full of people, and just there's this excitement of like just enormity and getting to indulge and be in that enormous place with others in community.
And Enchi, what unfinished business waits for you among the bones and the smoke of Marrow?
I may have borrowed a couple of books that were supposed to be returned after our short trip, and it's been 2.5 years.
You borrowed some books from a Mothran named Tema before you left, and you're very certain that they would want them back. But the good news is they're also one of the first people you should talk to about your rescue among the other goods that you found. But you do have to deal with the whole oops, I borrowed your books for 2.5 years problem as well. As you approach, you spot familiar flitting puffs of fur diving in and out of the branches as red-tail gliders play among the canopy as you guide the serpent fang toward the open beak of the fallen Leviathan. Business bustles as always. Freighters and junks of all shapes and sizes climb, crawl, and hover near the entrance. You spot a crew offloading large barrels that slosh and rock in voltaic suspension as they are offloaded by hovering ship platforms that spark as they are held aloft above the trees. There's a ship with a petite fruiting tree that covers the deck like a canopy, and another that has a great proud mast that has sails that actually catch the wind among their patchwork and stitches. Shoring up the ship by turning onto one of the many accessible slips is simple, and you all know exactly how to disembark. The city built among this unfathomably large beak. It stands open, and in the bottom there are stalls. Along the edges, you can see where there have been homes built that actually look out onto the Verdant In the top of the skull, you know that there are shops and businesses, and near the very top, right at the center between the eyes, is the seat of the Architect King, the reclaimer and builder of this entire city. Among all of this, there are stories and adventures that you've all gone on before. What do you do as you disembark?
Well, friends, I do have business that I must attend to immediately, but if I'm lucky, we may also have a solution to our rescue. So if you don't need me, I will make my way to my much overdue appointment.
I mean, I don't need you per se, friend, but we just have the stew. It's gonna be made. Can't eat all of the stew, just with 3 people. It's definitely been made for 4. Just
So, do you want me to wait till after stew to go? Or did you all want to come with and postpone
yes.
the... That's not a yes or no. There were options.
Well, you said, do you want to come with? And I said yes to that.
Okay, so you are more than welcome to all join me on my appointment.
I think the captain wants us all to come with. Maybe we could rescue the stew to also come with us.
I think Stig is got 3 or 4 hands going right now, mixing things in a big stew pot. It's like a little special lantern heating Bunsen burner that this pot is stuck in. Yeah, I can get this to go, and just sludges, arm almost expands out the sludge underneath everything, and just coddles it against torso and just keeps stirring while this big old giant pot is being boiled in front of her. Yeah, we can. Could someone bring the bowls, and I'll just keep...
Can it simmer? Can it?
I mean, that's what's doing now. It's just, do you want me? I don't think I should have a lit flame, just simmering on the ship in the middle of a city that probably could go up in a few seconds if we're not careful. It's
I mean, if we're going to trudge some books and a person, we can trudge some stew. I feel like this should be the easiest of the things we are
Wait,
rescuing.
you want me to collect the person into the stew? Is that...
No. That is not how that. No.
Okay.
No.
Yeah, Inchi and I don't always agree, but we are definitely agreeing on this one. We don't eat people.
That sentence was an emotional ride right there. I thought, we don't always agree, so go ahead, put that, artifact human thingy into the stew.
Let's
Okay.
gather, stew, rescue, books, and head on in. So take what you need.
You gather stew, bowls, and I think most likely you acquire some sort of cart, probably from your ship, to bring a decent haul of probably not all of the things that you've collected over the last 2 years, plus this amber, but probably at least a selection of these things, and hopefully also the amber grabbed by the claw and just very carefully set onto the wagon. And you make your way through the city. Tema's office is near the higher regions, but you know how to traverse it and can make your way there. And it is nestled into the side of what would be the beak of this massive crow. And there's just a little hole bored into the side, or at least it looks little from the outside, but on the inside, it's a whole person-sized window that has been drilled into the side of this oversized crow skull. And that is where you would find Tema's office. So we push in through the window and see you all at the front door to Tema's curio shop, shall we say.
I will just sort of knock on a wall or...
Traditionally, you know that Tema is a Mothran, and like your current Mothran compatriot, moths don't weigh very much. But behind the door you hear... Who is it?
It is Enchi. I'm here for my appointment and to return the books.
You'll hear a...
And
And Coralie will look around at our other friends.
And I have my crew who do not have appointments, but we do have many salvage. I can do introductions if everybody is available.
We've got Stu.
And we have Stu.
The door cracks open and you see this very fish appearing, kind of damp skinned being, tall, and has like a roll of neck coming off from underneath a shark head. Frankly, it's a person with a shark head, and then tendrils of gray shark-like flesh kind of come down, but they end in translucent, almost squid-like tentacles. This is a Ketra, one of the more aquatic-looking people of the Wildsea. Oh, it smells good. And they open the door, and you meet a person that, at least Enchi, having been here many times, you've never met this person. But he is a fat shark person, essentially.
I don't believe we've met.
Hello. My name is Bakal. I'm Temma's assistant.
Oh, Temma has a new assistant.
Yes.
You must love it here.
It's very wonderful. Well, come in and please bring the stew.
Bekal, may I ask, do you need to be rescued or collected today while we're here?
No.
Oh, good. I'm so happy to hear that you are, safe and comfortable where you are. My captain will always be willing to collect or rescue if you ever change your mind.
I think you just
very
see
generous.
Coralie kind of like arm up on a banister or something and give her like a...
You can see Bakal kind of look towards you, Coralie, and then kind of look down at you, Slake, and kind of give a little smile, like a wide, toothy shark smile. Thanks for the kind offer, beautiful moth. Please, come in.
As Slake rotates, because she's been called beautiful, she's going to let her wings flourish just a little bigger than normal as she turns to walk through the room.
You all enter, and actually most of the furniture here seems to be suited for Mothrin. It's very like petite, and it's mostly like stools, so there's places for your wings to hang nicely. But all of you can't help but notice you are in the presence of another large piece of amber. Temma is also a gatherer of interesting things and salvage throughout the world. And Bakal, as he enters the room again, pulls a table over, grinding it across the floor right in front of this large piece of amber, and then takes a very large seat right next to it and moves some papers aside. Please get comfortable.
I think Stig is gonna find like a corner of the room and like lay down the bowls over here, some other spices over here, the big stew pot and its little Bunsen burner on a table, and it's just like slopping bog mess all over this little corner, making it, her own little corner of the room.
Slake will find one of the nicer Mothrin chairs to sit on, and since you said that the chairs have way to lay the wings, she's not just gonna sit and like let them lay, she's gonna lay them out, sort of like, wedding dresses, how people in the back like fan them out. Same kind of thing with her wings. She's just gonna fan them out a little bit as she sits.
There's like parts of the stools that are actually made to kind of catch the wings and let them rest beautifully and elegantly.
She's taking full advantage of that.
Yes. Enchi, what crosses your mind as you see this large piece of amber?
A lot of curiosity. Like, instead of sitting down again, I'm just sort of moving around and like observing it and sort of looking at ours and like seeing what I can figure out, what it is, the shape of it, what I know about it, like full on analyzing anything that I can.
Fantastic. Why don't you roll sense and sharps for me as you look it over?
Uh, 2 and a 5.
All right, love a 5. You look it over, and this piece of amber also cut at a sharp inverse angle to the one that you have. So the one that you have is kind of cut in such a way where the bottom is wider than the top. This other one actually kind of looms over the room a little bit. And inside, you see a masculine figure reaching forward, not unlike the one that you have. But as you are looking it over and trying to get a good view, you can see that Bakal has set himself right in front of it, and he is a very large shark person. And so as you kind of study it and begin to gain more detailed view of it, suddenly your entire vision practically is shark.
Oh. You are just right there.
Yep.
Don't mind me. I'm just gonna just get a better view. It's interesting how what we found somewhat matches this.
You have more amber.
Oh yes.
And now suddenly the hands stop moving away the pages and begin to slide it back onto the table. You know, I'm a scholar of the pre-verdancy. That's why I work for Tema.
Oh, I didn't know that. I've been very interested in such matters myself. I also maybe you'll be interested in this, and I'll pull out the tome.
Ooh, incredible music.
Music.
And as he says this, he also pulls a pinch bowl of salt and puts it on the table from all of his things. Fascinating. This.
Very.
And he knocks the amber behind him. We're still in the process of freeing him, but interestingly, the effect of this amber, and you can see the salt as he slides it closer to all of you and kind of puts it in the middle of the table. You hear a low humming, just kind of floating around the room, specifically emanating from the bowl of salt.
Captain? Didn't you hear humming back in when you were a wolf but not a wolf, but a wolf with the trees?
You see Coralie like nodding yes and then nodding no and then nodding yes again, and you all infer that it's specifically because she said when you were a wolf but weren't a wolf but were a wolf. And Coralie will say, yes, that's actually why we went to that tree in particular. It had a beautiful singing voice.
Your amber can sing.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Oh. We've taken to calling him the sleeping singer for this, and he points to the salt.
Coralie will hold up their hand and say, is yours hands fully intact? Ours is missing a couple fingers. Tips.
Huh. And as you say that, he turns and now re-shows you the amber, and specifically raises his wet 3-fingered hand up to the amber, where there are 4 seemingly artifacts floating right in the edge of this piece of amber. Like 4 fingers reaching out. Fingertips.
Oh my. Now, normally I'm not this rash, but perhaps we could try putting them next to each other?
Yes.
Well, shall we eat this delicious stew first, or should I move the table?
Well, they're
The
probably
stick-
going to be really hungry.
Yeah, we should wait on this, dude. This feels momentous.
All right.
I mean, the longer you let the stew sit and simmer, it's gonna be like better, probably. You know, really sucks in the
Alright.
flavors.
And he stands back up again and is gonna re-drag the table across the floor and make room for you all to begin to move your large piece of amber into the room. And as you look it over, you see that indeed inside there is a humanish looking man with tannish skin, black hair pulled back, but also equally refined looking as the one in your amber. And it's a mixed bag with people from these kind of encased amber findings. Some of them were at work wearing work clothes. Some of them were at dinner. Some of them were asleep. And here, these seem to be two figures locked in a moment of some sort of refinement. But fashion has changed drastically since the pre-verdancy. And, well, at this point, they look otherworldly in their garb. But you eventually find your way to drag it in, and you do catch, as you offload the cart, some of the books, Enchi, that you were bringing back. You see Bakal kind of point at them and go, those are familiar. Wait a
Yes, I'm just going to return these. I'll just put them on the shelf. We don't need to talk about it much more. This is far more interesting.
You're right. And finagles the very large, and I think it's a whole crew effort plus Bakal to move these two pieces of amber. And you look and you see they do indeed fit together. And as they sit inches apart, he steps away. Who would like to do the honors?
The honors in what honors?
To see if they fit truly,
Oh.
completely.
Oh.
Push them together.
Oh, I will do that.
Wonderful. What does it look like as you twist your tall, lithe ectus body to push this very large piece of amber?
It is like there's a lot of like jockeying around, like looking at angles, and then like tentatively touching, and then coming out like, oh, that's not right, that's not right, that's not right.
Does
And
anyone
moving
jump in to
around.
help him?
No, that's not right.
I think that you'll just hear a woo.
That's helpful.
Slake is gonna go to the other side of the amber to try to help to push, but probably doesn't have the strength, so she's really just got her hands on it for no reason. But she's trying hard.
I think after like ladling a little taste of stew, it looks all right. Puts the ladle down, goes over and like, like both arms sludges around and helps like.
Amazing. Enchi, with all of that help, you will gain 2 advantage die.
Okay.
Since everyone, including the captain, for moral support, is helping. As you push the 2 together.
As I'm looking at this, I remember the phrase that was said to me, and I will say out loud, almost unconsciously, "Kiss of Amber."
Incredible. As you say the words and release this whisper from within your mind, what is one loss that keeps you going?
like
Knowledge or a person or anything.
when the storm came, the very comfort, the very sort of sedentary life that I was very much a part of, was just no longer an option. And there's a huge part of Enchi that just wants to stay in one place and read books and understand everything, but learning how quickly things can just go has always driven Enchi to get out into the world and no longer be in one place. Not the loss of roots was so difficult that I can't fathom staying in one place anymore.
And as you feel the peculiar, almost embrace of your crewmate's boggish body, the comforting, resonating howl of your pinwolf captain, and the slight brush of a Mothran trying her best to help in this endeavor, you will also gain a twist as you roll. Let's do a. I'm gonna give you a sharps on this because I'm trusting you're using your brain to do this, and a brace.
Okay,
To
and
push
then I
the
get,
two together.
and I get
So that's-
2 advantage die.
Yeah, that's 4d6, and you will get a twist no matter what.
Okay. One, 2, 6, and 6.
Oh!
Incredible! Oh my gosh, what a roll. You all feel the push of the two pieces of amber, and they lock together like they were never apart. And many of you have seen strange things on the Wildsea. This whole endeavor with the amber and finding this dream locked in a moment has been, while not the strangest thing on the Wildsea, probably not even the strangest thing you've seen on this journey, there is a beauty to the strange on the Wildsea. The pinwolves, the red fox-like squirrels that leap from branch to branch, and you piece them together, and amber light begins to glow from within. And what was just testing to see if they match, rejoining the two pieces of amber, like many other stories of awakening those lost in amber, invites some of that strange beauty from the Wildsea into this room with the stew and the crew, your new friend Bacall, and from within the amber glows, and you hear as the cracks grow and the light grows, and from underneath all of you who are touching the amber's hands, you can feel it kind of shift as within, before the amber even breaks all the way apart, you see these two men who were locked reaching out for each other. You see them both smile. And the hand, the separated fingers, somehow rejoined, reaches out, and you see them embrace and pull each other tightly into a kiss that was suspended 1,000 years ago. And the amber shatters around them, causing a not loud, but definitely a wave of force through the room as the amber falls apart and they fall to their knees, weak from the whole experience of being liberated from this amber and pieces of it just still floating around them. But there's no one else in the room as they look into each other's eyes. It takes time. You eat stew. They don't quite remember their life before. They just know that they needed each other. These two men, their names are Kalu, a violinist from before, and his husband, Diego. They don't remember where they lived. They don't remember much. But they do have a song that seems to tug at them even when they aren't fully aware, that you hear just drifting on the air in the amber that never seems to fully settle. A song of Kelu playing the violin and Diego humming along. They build again together. It takes time. And you all eat your stew. And as we sunset this journey, is there anything else anyone would like to close out our tale with? Where do you go?
I think that Coralie would give it a couple days before saying, right then, friends, it was so much fun when we were out and about together, right? Fancy getting out again? Feel a little stuck here, you know. I know we don't have sails, but I want to feel the wind in the sails, you know? Sounds fun. We had a good time. I can keep my dreams to a minimum.
Slake spent those past 2 days like going up to the top of the skull and seeing the shops up high, looking down at the city, but she slept on the boat every night because that to her is home. So for her, it was never a question of going with the captain. It was just the question of when. So she was going to spread out her wings and kind of curtsy and say, I will follow you out to sea anytime you ask.
Stig, you can see Stig from the busyness of the marketplaces. You see Stig coming with like almost like one of those like hitchhiking backpacks of like all sorts of new contraptions and jars of spices and things, just to restock all. You know, they were gone for a long time, so Stig had made do with, you know, whatever he could find. So it's just like restocking for a potential another like year of sailing again. But there's also a contentment after that meal with Kelu and Diago. It's like there's a contentment that Stig feels like she finally got to cook a meal for this pair that was really worthy. Like that was one of the best meals. It maybe had been the same old stew that Stig has always cooked, but that, because of who it was for, was the best meal that they ever cooked. So they're bringing all their gear onto the boat. They are so excited and happy. The boat, while they were gone, the ferrets like cleaned all the old Stig stuff away. The kitchen like is spotless again. So it's like, well, I guess I gotta, you know, sludge up this kitchen once again for another couple years.
What about you, Enchi?
I'll look at the captain. I'm trying to decide if I should be offended that you had to ask, or happy that something we have talked about has finally sunk in. I am very torn. Either way, of course I'm coming on the ship Also, we need to talk about some new rotations. And I can't constantly be the one that talks to the ship to get it to go where you want to go. At some point, we do need to take time, you and I, to talk about the actual workings of the ship.
Right then, Inchi. We can do that first thing in the morning if you'd like.
I would appreciate that. Can I seal that with an AU?
Ow!
Now I know it's serious. Let's get ready.
As the serpent fang crawls over the verdant sea away from this refuge, this almost home, the actual home, of course, leaving under your feet. The sun rises in the sky as Enchi shows the captain how the ship actually works. Stig, you are laying your groundwork in the kitchen for where more herbs and mushrooms and functional things will grow in hopefully a week, maybe sooner if you're lucky, but it is a place where more meals, more feasts worthy of adventure will be cooked. And Slake, you have another mural to paint, a new story to tell, maybe one that you can grace your wings with in the future. In the vast verdant sea, time can crystallize like salt and break apart ships and lives. But sometimes the sea herself calls out to those who can hear. All it takes is a whisper and a song. Thank you all for journeying with us on the Serpent Fang for this lovely one-shot on the Wildsea.
Amy, that was so much fun. Thank you. Well, my friends, as we wrap up, let us tell the people who we are and where they can find us. Let's start with Erica.
Hello, everybody. I'm Erica, she, her pronouns. You can find me on Twitter at Erica Newgirl or here on Twitch at Erica Please. It's PLZ, where I do a bunch of streaming. Sometimes I do art, sometimes I play random games, sometimes I speed run. So yeah, come find me and hang out and have some fun. I will pass it on over to Greg.
Hi, I'm Greg. I am a independent game designer, so you can find my games at leatherman.games. If you want to hear more of what I do, I am actually on an actual play podcast called Very Random Encounters, where we randomize everything. So all of our characters, all of our plot lines, all of the places, everything, and then we play to see what happens. We've been doing it for 7 years now, so if there's a genre that you are interested in, I guarantee we've done it as a season. Every season is a different game system, so if we're tired of just seeing D&D, we have done a lot of game systems, so you can go find it at vre.show. I will pass it over to Alex.
That's me. My name is Alex Catherine. You can find me at Alexy Galaxy, ALIXY GALIXY, on all social medias, mostly active on Instagram. For actual plays, you can find me on Moon Harbor Heroes. I'm on their Legacy season. And on Twitch, you can find me on Monday night, 7:30 p.m. I'm the host of the Welcome Party, and that's twitch.tv/Perception Studio. And I'll pass it over to Kai.
Hi, everybody. I'm Kai. This has been such a joy and a treat. You can find me all over the internet as Estelle of Imladris. You can find me on Mondays right now on playing Starscape on Happy Jack's RPG, where I play a horrible rich boy who doesn't know how to exist in the world. You can find me on Sundays on Angels and Atoms, which is we're doing a Fallout 2D20 Modifius system actual play where I play a robot who definitely knows what's going on in the world over on Vault Companions. And then you can find me most of the time, though we are temporarily on hiatus, over on Transplanter RPG, playing a cowboy who's living his best sad dad life. But in the meantime, thank you all for joining me. Jess, why don't you play us out?
Yeah, absolutely. So first, I want to say thank you all to everyone who watched and donated. We raised $305 for Trans Lifeline this
Oh my
evening.
God.
Absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much. Thank you to Kai for DMing this absolutely fantastic game, to Erica, Alex, and Greg. Y'all were so much fun to play with. 2.5 hours was not nearly long enough. We're all going to have to do this again sometime. There will be another stream tomorrow as part of the Pride streams. It's going to be at 5:30 Pacific Standard Time tomorrow evening on this channel. Again, Twitch and YouTube at Just the Human, just with one S. It's going to be a D&D game coming out of Mimiclandia from our friends at Little Cord. It's going to be a really fun Pride-themed game with, you guessed it, lots of mimics. We are also doing a TTRPGs for Palestine itch bundle right now. And so Greg has a game in it, I have a game in it. There are like 643 games, all for the price of $10. So I've just put the link into the chat. All of the proceeds go to medical aid for Palestinians, and it's going to be going for the entire month of June. So if you are able to, please consider doing a donation of $10 to get your hands on literally hundreds of TTRPGs. I'm going to start a raid now, going over to Smoke and Dragons. But again, thank you all so much for being here. Hopefully we can see you back tomorrow evening at 5:30 Pacific Standard Time as we continue raising funds for Trans Lifeline. Have a good day. Have a happy Pride. Be gay. Do crimes. Woo!
Yay!
Thanks, y'all.
It's through time.
Take
Bye.
care.